similar to the cupping session. This class and the workshop will be recorded. I do not know who's going to watch it in a few months or in a year or something. So I want to make sure everything is absolutely safe. Regarding lymphatic drainage during active malignancy, there has been quite a lot of change regarding that over the past years. So I did my training in the Wellbeing Institute in Germany, which is fair to say the #1 institute about lymphatic drainage. I had amazing teachers, doctors, lymphologists, very, very scientifically backed up everything. And my teacher said that it's a few years ago. I did the training after graduating, 2014, I think, something like that. So it's a few years ago. Yeah. But she, her entire clinic was dedicated to lymphatic drainage. She didn't do anything else. She was really she really knew her stuff. Yeah. So long story short, she said that she is doing it even during active malignancy simply because the argument that existed before for not doing it was that we don't want to stimulate the lymphatic system because we don't want to spread the cancer cells further throughout the body. And that's, the idea is valid. There's a reason behind that. But if it was that simple to spread cancer cells throughout the body, the simple fact of breathing and walking would do the same because that activates your lymphatic system. So she said the latest studies are very clear that the cancer itself decides whether it spreads or not. Yeah. And so there has been a change, but since for so many years, there was this big red flag and many physicians still hold on to that. That's why the safe route is to ask the physician and in case of doubt, just not doing it. But it, recently, as I said, people started to realize that we're actually not spreading cancer cells by doing lymphatic drainage. But yeah, that's like the official authorities are still kind of like, some say yes, some say no. So yes, but you don't have to worry. Yeah. Okay. Wonderful. I did mention in the video class, let me say that like this before. In the video class, I mainly speak about the lymphatic system itself. So it consists of the lymphatic vessels. That's the vessels where the lymph fluid flows through. And then we have the lymph nodes. So these structures will be important for the treatment. Yes, maybe that's some background information for those of you who haven't watched it yet. So when we do a lymphatic drainage, what I will showing you is called manual lymphatic drainage. So it's the medical therapeutic technique that has been developed primarily to reduce swellings, to help the lymphatic fluid in our body. For example, if we have a swollen limb after an operation, there are several diseases that can do that. It beautifully helps for sometimes when we have a puffy face or some eyeshadow. So it also has a cosmetical purpose. But what I'm going to be showing you is that the medical part, the medical therapeutic treatment of manual lymphatic drainage. The structure of the treatment, we will work on the face, is the first step will be an effleurage. So effleurage simply means gentle strokes with the palms of our hands, okay? And we do that together in a moment. The second step will be to open our main lymph nodes. So the entire idea is that we support the flow of the lymphatic fluid that is in the lymphatic vessels to flow further towards the lymph nodes. That's where it will be cleaned. That's why lymphatic drainage is an amazing technique for detoxing, getting rid of all the bodily waste, dead cells, all this kind of stuff that we have in our body that we don't want. So the lymphatic system is a little bit like the trash in our body that gets cleaned up. Okay, so it has an amazing detoxing effect. So we will be opening the main lymph nodes first. I show you how to do that. Then we open the nearest lymph nodes of the treated area. So we are working on the face. So we'll be opening lymph nodes around the neck, collarbones, and head. If, for example, someone would get a lymphatic drainage treatment for an arm or for a leg, these lymph nodes would be different ones. Like for the leg, the most important ones are in the groin, and for the arm, the most important ones are in our armpit, for example. And then comes the technique of the lymphatic drainage, and we finish up with an effleurage. It's super relaxing. You will hopefully feel very relaxed when you finish this workshop. So these are the steps we will be doing. I wanted to show you these images before we start to get another idea, a better understanding of where we're working. So here you can see all these green lines are the lymphatic vessels. The green dots are the lymph nodes. So we have a ton of lymph nodes, up to 800. It varies. You sometimes read about 600. Some books say 800, but it's a lot. So since we will be focusing on the head, the important part that I wanted to show you is around here, the neck area. So as you can probably see, we have the collarbone here, right and left. And there's a quite important area right here. And I have another image of that that's taken from one of my books. At the very end, I described that in more detail in the video class. I'm just gonna give you a brief review. At the very end of the lymphatic system, so it spreads through the entire body. We have lymph vessels in the entire body, and the lymphatic system ends right here. And the lymphatic fluid is released back into the bloodstream, into the veins. That's something many people don't know. So the lymphatic fluid is cleaned every time it passes a lymph node. The lymph node are the cleaning stations. And it continues to flow through the body. And at the very end, it's entered again into our bloodstream. So by then, it's clean. No viruses, no bacteria, no nothing. So that's why we will start our treatment by working on this area here with a very simple technique to open the lymph nodes in this region. And then we have this beautiful chain of lymph nodes right here on our neck. So we'll be working here to open these lymph nodes. And then we will do the technique on the face. And the idea is always, I have that explained here. So the principle is always we open the lymph nodes so that they are ready to receive the lymph fluid. And we do that with gentle and soft circling movements. So for those of you who haven't watched the video class yet, you basically already know how to do a lymphatic drainage because the comfy spots and how we massage them is the exact technique of manual lymph drainage. We will add a few things, but the idea is that it has two phases. So if I open this slide in a moment again so that you can read, but let's just for practice purpose do it together one time. We can use the next to the nose comfy spot. And you know that we do circles And they are so gently that we don't even feel the bone underneath. And we do circles. What we're not doing is gliding on the skin, right? That would be a massage. That's not what we're doing. We are stretching the skin in a circling movement. So there is a stretch and a release, a stretch and a release on the skin. You should be able to feel that. There's always the first phase of stretch, and I release, and my fingers come back to the place where they started. And that is exactly the main technique used in lymphatic drainage. It's called the standing circle, because I do a circling movement, but my fingers aren't really sliding on the skin. So they're not really moving in that sense. Okay. We're doing that because this gentle stretch, and it has to be gentle, it has to be soft, because we want to open the lymph nodes and the valves in the lymphatic vessels. I explained it more in the video class, but the lymphatic vessels have valves exactly like the heart. So by stretching, we actually open them, and the lymphatic fluid can continue to flow. If we were to apply a lot of pressure, we would squeeze the lymphatic vessels. That's not what we want. We want to open the valves that are on the inside. Okay, so I think that's going to help you for this class. Let me just briefly, so that you can finish reading that slide. So we have the gentle and soft circling movements, 2 phases. Phase 1 is the stretch, and I like to hold a little bit after the stretch before I release and go back. And you can really visualize how you open this valve, and the fluid can now continue to flow, and then you go back. Okay. And we always do the stretch directed towards the nearest lymph nodes. I will show you where they are and how to do that. I just wanted to mention the difference between a lymphatic massage and a manual lymphatic drainage, because chances are high, if you were to Google by yourself, or maybe you type in YouTube lymphatic drainage, you will very likely find what they call lymphatic massage. So the technique in a lymphatic massage is slightly different, because they probably will slide on the skin. They will probably do something like that. And yes, it's effective. It also affects the lymphatic system. But if we're not doing the sliding, but we're really doing this stretch and release, it's more effective, because we can open the valves on the inside of the vessels. So both work, but the medical version of it is where we're not sliding, but we're doing this stretch and release, like the comfy spots. Okay. But you will find that in more detail in the video class. Is that clear for now? Is that enough theoretical part for now? Okay, perfect. So then we start. What I like doing before starting a lymphatic drainage is a few minutes, 2-3 minutes of deep breathing. Ideally, diaphragmatic breathing, lower abdominal breathing. That also has an effect on our lymphatic system. So I want to show you for a moment how you can do that. If you sit in a comfortable position, back straight, feel free to close your eyes if that makes it easier for you to feel your breath. For some people, that's easier. And first, I would just like to observe our breath. So we place one hand on our lower abdomen, lower than the belly button, and the other hand we place here on the chest. Shoulders can relax. So now just take 30 seconds, maybe something like this, and just observe your natural breathing. Where can you feel a movement in your body when you inhale and when you exhale, without changing anything? Maybe you feel something in your lower abdomen, maybe in your chest, maybe even in your shoulders. For now, just observe where your body actually moves while you inhale and exhale. Okay, so now gently, without giving much of an effort, we leave our hands where they are, and we're gonna try to start our breathing, the exhale and the inhale, with the muscles in our lower abdomen. So you will need some awareness for that. It can sometimes be a little bit tricky, but the idea is that my hand on my chest doesn't move at all. So I'm breathing in by expanding my lower abdomen, and I'm breathing out by gently activating my lower abdomen. Yeah. Good. It can feel a little, new if we're not used to doing that, but it shouldn't take you any effort. So when you feel you're tensing up, then just shake it off for a moment and try again. It's really gentle. But the idea is that the hand that is on your lower abdomen, you can feel how it rises when you inhale, like a little balloon. And you exhale by contracting your lower abdomen. Yeah. Wonderful. Okay. I recommend you just doing that sometimes. It's really, really good, not just for the lymphatic system, for the vagus nerve. Remember the diaphragm and the location of the vagus nerve and the fascia, how everything is connected. So deep belly, deep abdominal breathing, really, really, really great. And the idea always is that our chest doesn't really move, but it's really the abdomen. Okay, good. So that's an ideal start for our lymphatic drainage. So let's start with step 1, effleurage. So we will just be gently doing some massage strokes on our face to tell our skin, our nervous system that we're about to start with a little treatment. Helps also to connect with our body. Can circle around the eyes, around the lips. And we're doing it really gently. No pressure at all. Okay, great. Now, I told you after the effleurage, the first step is to open the main lymph nodes. So for our facial treatment, that will be the area that I showed you on a photo. I'm quickly raising my shoulders so that I can show you better. So here's the collarbone, and it's right in this angle here, right in this angle. You don't have to raise your shoulders. You can leave them relaxed. I just want to show you where it is. So right here. Okay, we start on one side, you choose, I place my fingers right here. It can be 2, it can be 3. And we do the same movement that we do on our comfy spots. A standing circle with a stretch phase and relaxation coming back. Really slow and really gentle. That is where the lymphatic vessels end, and the lymphatic fluid will be released back into our bloodstream. So we want to clean that area first so that it's open, and all the lymphatic fluid that we will activate now has a free highway, so to speak. Yeah, we can do 10, 15 circles on one side. And then once you have that, we go to the other side, doing the same here. So it's right in this triangle, basically. I always like to use 3 or 4 fingers, so I know I'm definitely on the right spot. I don't have to worry too much. I'm definitely there. And always reminding myself, slow, slow and gentle. Okay. When we have our 10 to 15 circles, we start to open the lymph nodes that are nearest to the area that we treat. So since we do a facial treatment, we continue with the lymph nodes on our neck. You saw them on the image. We have a long chain of lymph nodes right up here. So we start standing circle, and I start pretty much here between collarbone and neck. Just place my hand here and do a few circles. If there's any question along the way, please let me know. And once I have approximately 10 circles here, I'm gonna just move up a little bit and do the same. Try to turn around a little bit. So we're preparing all our lymph nodes. And then if you still have some space left, we can move up slightly higher. So I'm already reaching my jawline here, but I'm still on the neck. So here. Let's always remember these 2 phases. I have stretch on the skin and release. So my fingers don't slide on the skin. Okay, and we continue to do the same on the other side, starting between collarbone and the neck here. And I do my standing circle. Stretch and release. If you get thirsty, please drink something. You might also need the bathroom after the workshop or for the rest of the day more than usual. So that would be good. We're cleaning, detoxing. And when we have our approximately 10, we just move up a little bit and do the same. You might already start to feel some relaxation coming because we also stimulate our ventral vagus nerve. Another beautiful side effect. Okay. Good. So now we have opened and prepared our important lymph nodes here. We have opened and prepared the lymph nodes on our neck. So now we work on the lymph nodes before and behind the ear. And there's quite a lot of them. So how I like to do it is like I do, what is that, Spock? Put my hands like this, and I'm going to try to show you. So 2 fingers will be in front of my ear and 2 will be behind. So like this. And then same thing. Circle, stretch and release. So with that, I get the lymph nodes that are in front of my ear and the ones that are behind my ear. And at the same time. And most of the time, the slower we do it, A, the more relaxing, and B, the more we can open the lymph vessels, the valves, and the more liquid can actually flow through. You have that explanation in the video class. So less is definitely more here. And yeah, you can do both sides at the same time, or you can do one after the other. That's your choice. I tend to like doing one side first and then the other, but it's just personal preference. Okay, good. So now we have all the lymph nodes prepared that we need. We could add the ones at the back of our head, which you already know as the comfy spot at the back of our head. And do the absolute same thing here, standing circle. We're not sliding on the skin, but stretching and releasing. Same thing, we can do both at the same time, or we start on one side. As part of the basic recipe, it's nicer to do one side after the other, but for our lymphatic drainage, we can do both simultaneously. Okay. Good. So now all our lymph nodes that we will be working with are open, are prepared. And now all we're doing is, through the entire phase, continue working with this standing circle. And we're always going to move from the center, either towards the ear, closest lymph nodes, and then we can also move towards our collarbone. Okay, so the idea is my stretch is towards the closest lymph nodes. I'm opening up and I'm releasing. So I'm helping the lymphatic fluid to move forward. The technique is exactly the same one. You can use one finger too, you can use several. And we start here. And now it's enough to do 4 or 5 circles on one spot. Then I move a little bit further. So I'm going to do this line here now. Starting at the center. 4, 5, could be 6, 7 circles. And I move a little bit and doing the same. Super gentle, slow stretch and release. Once I'm in front of the ear, I can continue now and move the way up again. So I'm basically, I want to say pushing because we're not pushing, but in a very gentle way, we're pushing the lymphatic fluid to move. Oops, sorry. From here to here and to here, like in steps, in tiny steps. So we ended up in front of the ear, and now we can move back. I like to prefer to use this hand here. One of the most challenging aspects of lymphatic drainage when starting is to really keep it that gentle and slow and soft, because we have the tendency of becoming, me too, getting faster, maybe applying more pressure. So I constantly have to remind myself, okay, slow. That's really how it's most beneficial. Okay, so now we do the same on the other side. We start on the chin, we move to the front of the ear and down. All these beautiful lymph nodes that are running here. Okay. If there's any question or you want to share something, please feel free to do so. So now we did this. Now we're just going to do the same, starting top of the lips to the front of the ears, because here's a group of lymph nodes, and then again down. So here you can probably use one finger, could be two, depends on the size of your fingers. And the reason, you just continue, I share some more information with you. The reason we want to do the entire pathway I mean, we could just stop here, but it is recommended to work all the way to the main lymph nodes because we don't want to create, let's say, like a traffic jam of our lymphatic fluid. So we want to make sure we always drain it, we always move it to the last station. To give you another example, if when I had a patient who maybe had an operation on the ankle, it was super swollen after the operation, maybe, and I gave him a lymphatic drainage treatment, I would start here. So many patients were like, what are you doing on my neck and on my head? And my problem is the ankle. So I explained them, yes, but we're going to clean and activate your entire lymphatic system. If I just work on your ankle, all the lymphatic liquids or fluid that I'm going to be moving will be stuck maybe in your groin or in your abdomen. And we don't want that. We want to really move it through your entire system. So with the face, that's a little bit easier, but we always see it as an entire system. So we're not just stopping halfway, but we're going to make sure to go all the way to the main lymph nodes. It is not as important when we don't have an edema. If we're doing it for relaxation, stimulating the vagus nerve, if that is our initiative, then it is not as important. But medically correct would be to do the whole pathway, the whole way. Okay. Good. So now let's do the same cheekbones. We start with our known comfy spot. And move our way towards the ear. What I sometimes like doing is, especially in this region here, is I do the first phase, the stretch, and I hold it for 3-4 seconds before I release. For some reason, that feels super relaxing, holding the stretch and releasing. Stretch and release. All right. Yeah, you can do it in your own rhythm now, one side and then the same on the other side. Always working all the way to our main lymph nodes. The next we started jawline, then we went from upper lip next to the nose, and now one of my favorite, the eyes. So we can start right underneath the eyes. Here I usually like to use one finger, but you can use two, whatever works best for you. So we had some sleepless nights and the coffee doesn't help either. We can help out a little bit.
When I was very young, I was taught to use my ring finger because it's the weakest finger and does the least damage to the soft tissue under your eye, the delicate tissue.
Good point. Yes, great point. Yeah. You can test it for yourself. How does it feel if you use the middle finger, the index finger, the ring finger? And if the ring finger for you feels that's where I use automatically the least pressure, then use that one. Yeah. Thanks, Pat. Good addition. And here you're very free. Maybe you feel like after doing this line here, maybe you want to do the lymph nodes, the front and at the back of the ear again, just to make sure, because they did get a lot of lymphatic fluid now. We've been moving it. So we might just want to support them a little bit by opening them again so that they keep working. Lymph nodes do not have their own layer of muscles. So they do depend on stimulation from the outside. That's our movement, activating our muscles through moving our body, and lymphatic drainage, for example, and breathing. This will be another thing. But the lymph nodes itself don't have their own muscles to activate them. That's why when we have to lay down for a while, broken ankle, it's just going to get swollen because there is no impulse, no muscle contraction through moving. One of the reasons. And we have ruptured vessels as well. And that explains why in the morning the face is more puffy than during the day, because there was no movement for 6, 7, 8, 9 hours. So it's a really, really simple technique, but sometimes simple isn't easy because we need to remember to do it slowly, gently, to get the full benefits of it. Okay, let's do the lymph nodes front and at the back of the ear on the other side too. So now we've done the line underneath the eyes, and now one of my absolute favorites, maybe the absolute favorite eyelids. And I really love to start working here in the angle of the eye, the corner of the eye. So it's, of course, I'm on top of the eyelid. So I'm gentle, but we've been gentle before already. Stretching and releasing, not sliding on the skin, stretching and releasing. You know how it works. We first go to the ear, and then from the ear down to the collarbones. get a dry mouth. Removing liquid. Once we have that, the eye area, but if you're still at it, then take your time. Just letting you know now the only thing that is left is our front. Same thing. Now here, since the surface is a little bit bigger, I might use 2 or 3 fingers. Can also do another round on your eyebrows. Sometimes we can get a little puffy here too. So stretch and relax. Yeah. We can finish off by doing one last time the lymph nodes. I do recommend you, I mean, it's not very comfortable anyways, but to not do both sides of the lymph nodes on the neck simultaneously. The veins here are sensitive to pressure. And if we would apply too much pressure on both sides, there's a chance of fainting. Not with the light pressure that we use in lymphatic drainage, but just we don't want to create any stress or anything. So it's just better when working on the neck to do one side first and then the other. Finishing up where we started. Here it's okay to do both sides. It's really this area here. And then doing one last effleurage. Gentle strokes. Now we're sliding because that's not the lymphatic drainage. Good. Yeah, do it a few times. And then let's observe again how we're feeling now, how we're breathing. Mm-hmm. Good. How do you feel, Pat?
Very relaxed.
Yeah, good. How are you, Ramona?
Good. It seems like whenever you have a class is when I had a really bad sleep or I'm tired or grouchy. So it's usually when I need to do. I do have a question. So this immediately brought to mind some of the accounts that I follow on Instagram where they're doing like the face massage and it's usually with oil and it's sometimes the tool, like gua sha or something like that. Would you say that you could do like the lymphatic drainage and then do the face massage as a follow-up to what they're doing?
Absolutely, you can do that. What I always think is important is that we really understand the difference. So lymphatic drainage, we want to stimulate our lymphatic system. We want to support the lymphatic fluid. The beauty of it is that it does have an effect on the vagus nerve. So we do enhance our trauma release, our relaxation, our sense of safety. But it's just different than massage. But you can perfectly combine it. Yes.
So would you say if you're going to go do this, should you use a facial oil or no, just bare skin?
For lymphatic drainage, I don't use oil. Actually, it's even important to really not have any oil, or sometimes if it's very hot and someone might be a little bit sweaty on their skin or something, we would try to wash that too, so that our hands, our face, our body is dry in that sense, no oil, because if we use oil, we're just going to slide on the skin.
Then you're just massaging.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So for lymphatic drainage, no oil, no moisturizer or anything like that.
Yeah, so if my clients are like me and I have really oily skin, then I'd probably advise them to maybe gently cleanse their face before they do this.
Yeah. I understood 2/3 of what you said right now. I'm not sure if I understood everything. There was a bit of I don't know if it's a connection.
Like for me, if I'm thinking of someone like me, like my skin is naturally very oily. So if I was going to do that, I'd probably want to cleanse my face a little bit before I do that.
Yes. Yeah. That would be good. Just washing it with a towel. I mean, if it's okay, it doesn't have to be super dry. But at least, not oily, no massage cream, anything like that. Or the moment you notice that you're sliding on the skin, just try to dry it a little bit, and so that you have really these two phases of stretch and relax.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Well, it's interesting, just along the note of lymphatic, is years ago I listened to a lecture about the lymphatic system, and then it made me realize, why do people feel so good after yoga? You're doing the breathing, you're doing the stretching, you're totally moving your lymphatic system the whole time. Besides other reasons, but that's, a big one for that.
That is a very, very big one. Plus the fascia, the stretch, the movement, the breathing also affects the fascia. Yeah, that's why yoga is the number one health movement that we can do, because it really, and mentally as well, emotionally, I mean, it's really the one, I don't want to call it workout because it's not really a workout, but you know what I mean, this one technique method that really affects all levels of our being in a very, very beautiful way. Yeah.
Obviously you're a fan.
I am. Yes. I discovered it for me not a long time ago, like 2.5 years ago. Before that, I thought it's super boring, but I didn't get it. So now I do. Now I love it. Yeah. Donna, how are you? Do you have any questions? How was that for you?
No, that's fine. I feel very relaxed. I'm looking at everybody's face and we all kind of want to go to bed now. Go take a little nap. Yeah.
Good. I'm happy to hear that. What about you, Laurie? Oh, sorry, Donna. Did you say something else?
No, I said, yeah, just very relaxing. Thank you.
Perfect.
No, it was interesting because when you said then afterwards pay attention to your breathing, I realized I was definitely belly breathing instead of that chest breathing, just automatically. So, and because the belly breathing, when we first started doing it, I was like, it was definitely difficult. It was, I just something consciously, and I realized at the end, I was like, oh yeah, I'm really taking those deep breaths. Would you kind of recommend, because a lot of my clients have like severe anxiety too, would that belly breathing kind of be a really great modality for them? Okay.
I love it. It's one of the things I usually teach either clients or students pretty fast. And it's normal that it's complicated at the beginning for most of us, and that's okay. Just take some practice. But again, remember the fascia, the vagus nerve, the diaphragm, the connection with the psoas muscle. So deep breathing is so important, the diaphragmatic breathing. And another good tip here is the main reason why many people have this shallow breathing more into the chest is, or the first step to change that is actually to focus on the exhale rather than the inhale. So if we don't know that and we feel like, oh, I should breathe more deeply, and we're like, but that no, at first we really have to exhale fully to make space, and then automatically we will inhale more fresh oxygen. So many people just focus on the inhaling while our focus actually should be the exhale. And that's what we can practice really nicely with the lower abdominal breathing, by really this slight contraction of the muscles in our lower abdomen that really helps to just empty the lungs out fully.
Yeah, it all of a sudden clicked when you said that, when you said contract your lower abdominals, and then that kind of made sense to do that. So perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, we're right on time today. One last thing, just letting you go with that. What I love doing regarding the lymphatic drainage, I'm not always doing the full treatment, but working on the computer a lot. So I'm very often, reading something, researching something, and I'm just sitting here and doing my eyes and my lymph nodes here. So a little bit is better than none at all. So if you don't have 30 minutes or whatever, just do a little bit. Just do some standing circles here, the comfy spots. Remember that we want to drain everything to these main lymph nodes, and it's super relaxing. Sometimes it's really what keeps me through the afternoon when the energy starts to go down. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Watch the video class, and if there's any question left, just let me know, shoot me a message.